Hello, welcome to Painting with Jasmine Rempel Art. I'm Jasmine, and today I want to paint this pretty garden scene or something like it. I'm going to use my former painting for inspiration, and I'm going to paint on a watercolor card here. This is a Strathmore 5x7 watercolor card, and I have some brushes and supplies which I'll share with you what I'm using as I go along. The first thing I need to do is I need to wet this surface of this paper so that I can create a background with kind of a faded wet on wet look. So my watercolor card is actually taped onto a little canvas board, and that way I'm able to lift it as I want to. And the reason I want to right now is I'm looking for kind of a light, the light source, the sheen of light on the water, and that way I know where I've painted water on this surface. So I'm putting down enough water so that it stays nice and damp while I'm working, but I'm not putting in so much that the water is running off the page or making big pools. So I'll just show you the sheen, the light on there, and you can see that I have lots of water. Now the paper that I'm using, as I mentioned, is Strathmore watercolor paper, and I find this works great for my purposes. I do encourage you, if you can and you're branching out in watercolor, to purchase higher quality papers because you do get nicer results. This is 140-pound cold press. All right, I'm going to start with some color here. I'm just grabbing some violet. That's a warm violet I've got there, and I'm reaching in for a cooler violet. Right there, you can see that that one's a lot darker in value, and I'm actually going to mix them. And I'm just going to begin tapping in some of this violet color and just let it bleed out. This is going to end up being kind of like a fuzzy background layer that's out of focus. So I'm not being too particular where or how I put it down. I'm reaching now for some permanent rose, and I'm going to just grab a bit of that violet, put it in the permanent rose, and add some more water. I feel like these ended up being quite a lot darker than I would have wanted them to be, but the nice thing about watercolors is they do dry lighter, so that's fine. There's a little pink one there, one growing up this way. And maybe someone kind of mixing in over here. Good. Now I'm going to grab some greens. I'm reaching into olive green. And I want lots of water in there. I'll just run a bit of the green in the odd place as well. It's quite a warm yellowy green. I noticed a bit of a pooling over here, so I'm just taking a tissue and drink up a bit of that. Right, and I would like to have a different green. So I've got Quinacridone Gold, and I'm going to reach in for some Ultramarine Blue, mix those, and there's a different green. Let's do some dabbing, a little bit of the green in here and there. Good. All right, and those are happily mixing together. I notice I have a little hair here, so I'm just lifting that out. This room is also the room where my cat likes to hang out, so that hair was most likely his. Just going in here and lifting a bit of this color because it's more dark than I want it to be. So to lift color, I have a damp, clean brush. There's no color on it. It is damp. You can see me drying it off on the paper towel. And then I run it along, and what it's doing is it's picking up some of that pigment. There. I feel happier with that. It also gives it a nice kind of a mottled look. All right, if that's going to be a background, that's an interesting one. So I'm grabbing, I'm going to end up with a bloom here. Let's maybe pick up a little more around the edges. Okay, so I think I'll do a little bit of splatter. Some of the pink. Can't see it yet. There we go. Nice. Some of that purple. Super. And now I'm going to get this tissue, and I've just kind of rolled it up. Just going to dab it here and there. It's lifting off that pink, and ultimately I'm going to want this to be a type of flower. Do the same right here, right beside it. Good. And this one going a little higher. You can see how nice and white that becomes when I lift off the paint with this tissue. Good. It's still damp, so I'm going to go in with some more greens. Some more blue in there. Just create a few more. It's almost dry here, so the others are spreading out. That one isn't. Okay. I think that's probably going to be good. Don't want to fuss too much. I'll lift a little more of that white. All right, now I need this to dry. So I'm going to turn this off and let this dry. All right, that is dry. I'm grabbing my number 4 brush, and I'm going to go into these 2 violet colors, and I'm going to start to make some, I want a little more of that warm violet. I'm going to start to make some flower shapes, I think some stalks is what I'll start with. Just kind of randomly tapping the brush. Being mindful that I've got my white ones here and not wanting to completely blot them out. I want to try to be as random as possible. I've just cleaned my brush and I'm just going to run it along the side here so that I have a nice edge that's not hard. What happens if I run it along the side is that it encourages the paint to bleed out a little more and it's not such a hard edge. All right, good. There's a nice little stalk, and let's do the same thing. Add a bit of pink to it maybe. Let's create one maybe right over here, a little higher. Nice. And again, just tapping my brush. I'm intentionally leaving some white spaces because I'm going to use those later. Wanting this one to be a little sideways. In the garden, it just is, you know, things don't typically, sometimes they do, but they often don't grow straight up or down. Straight up and down, they bend over. So many flowers on this stalk that they are causing it to lean. I noticed that in my garden, especially when a strong wind has come the night before. I've got to stake things up, so they end up leaning. Just softening some of these edges here with that damp brush. Okay, good. Now let's reach in for this pink. Again, this is Permanent Rose. And I just take a bit of that purple and add to it. And let's get another one. How about right here? Again, I'm going to lean this one. I'm trying to be quick with my marks so that I'm not super fussy about them. Went right over that leaf there. There we go. Let it bleed out a bit. A little more on this side. And there we go. Love that. And I just want to put a couple of dots up here. I notice with my, if these are delphinium stalks, they have little ones at the top, little tiny flower buds. All right, I love the movement already. Just kind of this dancing feel about it. Let's actually, I don't think I used Cobalt Blue in the background, but I'm going to do a blue one. So, Cobalt Blue. Take a tiny bit of the purple in there. Nice. All right, how about here? Going right between those. Reach up a bit. Sometimes when I'm painting, I hear the song from Frozen, the Walt Disney movie, in my mind. Let it go. I'm trying to coach myself to not be fussy, to try to just let my marks take their own shape. if I fuss too much, sometimes the just beauty of spontaneity can be wrecked. I kind of want this one to be a bit wider than the others right here. There. I like that. So we've got a blue. They're all kind of evenly spaced apart, so I need to change that. Let's go into this pink and let's do another one. And let's let it be beside this one, just running alongside it. There, that's better. And they're all similar height, so let's take this one up. And there we go. Good. Two purples, two pinks, a blue. Let's do another blue, but make it a little more violet-y purple. And that one's quite thick. Let's just maybe throw one in here. A more lavender color. And it's also faded. It's not very dark. I'll just do a small one like that. I'm feeling like I'm getting to a close with these. I love that white right there, and this one. Okay. Maybe another blue. Just apart. Good. And maybe one coming right beside it. Almost touching that one. I like that. Hooray. Okay, I like it. It's full of color. So now I'm going to make some stems. I'm going to use my rigger brush for this. Did I tell you what size brush this is? This is a round number 4 brush. That's what I was using. Okay, I've got a little pile of green here. It's kind of a mishmash of warm color and dark, warm and cool colors. This is more of a warmish, so let's just go right in here. Create a little stem. Carry that stem up near the top as well. Good. Let's repeat that. Maybe with this one here, a little more diluted. This one almost appears like it's in the background, so let's keep it looking like that. Okay, add some more blue. Oh, that's nice and dark. And let's create another. Good. Maybe add some here and darken it up. Okay. I think these ones are going to come from a similar stalk, stem. Nice. Let's get some of the blue in there around the base area. Some purple maybe. Oh, it was too wet, so I'll get it later. No, I'm going to get it now. There we go. Tap in a darker value. Good. That's good. Let it go. Oh. Oops. I don't love that. So I'm not letting it go there. I am erasing it by lifting it. Good. That's better. Now these little ones, they will also need a stem. And I'm going to punch them out. I've got 0 here, and I'm just going to give them a little blue center. This is actually ultramarine blue. I'm just gonna make a few marks on them. As though that was the center of the flower. One back there. Good. These are quite dark. I'll lift a bit of that out. There. It's better. Don't fuss too much, Jasmine. Okay, good. Pretty. All right, now we want a few more things. We want more leaves. We want some splatter. We want some bees, and we want to do some more work on the stalks. So I think I'll just hang on to this 0 for now. Fine tip. And I'll go back into this purple. Add some ultra to it, ultra blue, just darken it up. And I'm just going to take it around some of my white areas. My white, where I left a bit of background showing. And then I'm going to run a damp brush along the edge. Let it bleed out a bit. It's summer and the gardens are growing. I wait all year for this beauty. And I'm glad to be in this season. I'm grateful for it. There, I like that. This one's maybe a little bigger than I would want, so close it in a little. There. Same thing right over here. Oops, that's a lot bigger than I want. Okay, you probably saw how the tissue picked that up. I'm going to zoom in for you here. I just realized that might be helpful for you to see a little closer what I'm actually doing here. I'm just going around this white part, and I'm just like a little semicircle. That way it'll look like the center of these flowers growing on this stalk. And then once I do some, I run a damp brush around the edge. I hope that helps doing this. I've been doing YouTube videos for about just over a year now, maybe. So I'm very open to feedback about the experience. Okay, now we're going into the pink one. So I'm actually going into this Quinacridone red, and I'm going to put that in there. That's going to darken that up. Actually, I kind of want alizarin crimson. There we go. let's, again, why don't I zoom in? Let's try 2. Okay, that could work if I do this one here, but I don't want to do this one. I'm going to do my center, so let's see if I can get that in good view for you. There, that should work. You can really see all those white areas. Just going around those. Yeah, you can see. I glance every now and again to make sure. Even if it's not a white area, I'm still gonna put some darker color in here and there. This helps it pop out a bit, give some texture, some interest. Okay, so let's zoom out. There. So pretty. Do a few over here, but I kind of wanted to leave this one mostly faded. I want the eye to be drawn into the center area. Okay, the blue. Get some more of the ultra. And we'll do a few. It's quite wet. That's enough. Playing a bit now. Oops. A big water blob. I keep a tissue in my hand. You never know when you're gonna need it, the watercolor. Okay, I kind of like that. So, I think I want this pure ultra. I'll just do a few in the center of these as well. I'll pop these forward a bit. There. I want to proclaim that they're there. Look at me, I'm here too. Okay, lovely. Let's get some leaves in there. Number 6. Do some sap green. This is a warm green. It's going to come forward. To do these, I simply, what I'm doing is, that's a cooler, so let's get some blue, some ultra. I am pressing the tip, and then I push harder, and then lighter. So gentle tip, pushing harder, going lighter, and there we go. Lovely, the leaves are dancing as well. Let's get a smaller brush, number 4. Same thing with the number 4, but I think I'll not do as thick. Just do a few, a little thinner, and definitely coming out behind a bit. Oops, I want blue for that one because it's, yep, that works. I didn't plan to do that, but let it be. Okay. maybe some really small ones. I'm grabbing a number 2 round now, and I want some darker ones that have a lot of water in it. They kind of fade a bit, not super prominent. I'm just kind of randomly filling in space ultimately. There, I think that works. Okay, let's do some splattering. I'll use my number 2. Pink. Tap, 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 tap. Blue. Tap, tap. Blue. Okay. Purple. Maybe with the pink. Love it. So nice. And now, let's have a closer look. I think I want to add some bees, maybe some butterflies. The 0. Let's zoom in for you for a bee. Quite close, so you kind of see how I do bees. People do bees in all kinds of ways. This is the way I'm doing them today. I've got some Windsor Yellow, touch of purple in there to kind of dull it down a bit. And let's do one right here. I'm just doing like a little oval shape there. And let's do another right here. I want to make sure that's on the screen for you. Yep, I think it is. These might be bumblebees in comparison to the flowers. They're big. Those maybe are bumblebees, those two. Doesn't look like you can see too much more, so let's just work on those ones. So what I'm going to do now, you won't be able to see it, but I'm reaching for Payne's Gray, and I'm mixing in some of my Ivory Black with that Payne's Gray. And I'm hoping these little bees are dry enough. And I'm gonna go in here and I'm just gonna put a little head. That's quite wet, so take out the head and some more yellow. Okay, a little too enthusiastic there. Okay, let's back to square one. My paint was too wet, so it ran all the way down into that little yellow shape. Okay, let's go here. Now my paint is not as wet, and I could do some stripes. A couple of antennas. I'll do that here as well. Good. Don't have to do the antennas. And for my wings, I'm just going into some blue. And I'm just going to go out like that. Lift off a bit. They're a little darker than I would have wanted. Cute. I really want this one to have antennae. So I'm giving him some with this really lovely fine tip. There's some bees. Okay, so I've got 2 there, but I would like more than 2. I love bees. I want them in my garden. I try to plant at least a couple of flowers thinking of them so that I attract them to the garden. So I have one there, one here, maybe one down here. I've got 4. Yeah, sure, right here. Okay, let's That's plenty of bees. While I'm letting this dry, I'm going to sign my painting. And I think I'll just use the 0 and the black with the bit of blue in it. Payne's grey mixture. And I'm just going to put my initials in ever so gently. There we go. JR, Jasmine Rempel. And let's give those bees some stripes. Getting to the end of this painting. If you're still with me and you are painting too, you can show me by finding me on Instagram. Love to see your painting. Jasmine Rempel Art on Instagram. And send me a message. You can also find me, you can also write a little message here. Just let me know what you liked about this, or honestly, any feedback you have for improvement, because I always want to grow. More bees. All right, give them wings and call this a wrap, and then we'll peel off the tape. Oh my gosh, I love them so much. All right, let's look at what this final product looks like. This is an art card I can give to someone for a birthday, a special event. Everybody loves getting a nice painting, right? There we go. All done. I hope you enjoyed your time with me and that you were inspired to go and try some flowers on your own. Happy painting and bye for now.